I'm Felipe Iglesias. I'm a designer. I'm also a consultant in design, branding, and technology. In this channel, we will talk about design, but in a simple way, try to avoid the really complicated words about design. But if there is some of that, I will try to explain in order to make it easier for you to understand. Today, we are going to talk about innovation, opportunities, and scenarios in a post-pandemic. As you know, everyone now is suffering the consequence of this huge pandemic, but it will not be the first one, not the last. And it's important for us to understand the situation and discover the opportunities a bad situation like that can bring us to improve our societies. The first thing is technology as a means of integration, not isolation. There are many studies who talk about how social networks isolate people around the world, but now we are seeing the opposite. Thanks to applications such as Zoom, Skype, Google Hangouts, etc., we are seeing that more and more people are connected today. And this is thanks to technology. At the end, technology works depending on us. We are the ones who define what to do with technology. You can always do something that, but also you don't need technology to do that. So we are seeing this trend that people will be more connected and they will feel that they are less alone thanks to the use of this technology. Acceleration in digitalization and inclusion of elderly people, that is very important. Until now, there were many companies and countries, institutions that were not very happy to engage with the digitalization because they didn't want to invest money and effort to do that. But we see that under a pandemic scenario, it's very, very important for people and for the economies to be reliable. And for that reason, you need to have digitalization of services. So countries like Italy or Chile, we already have some digital identity. In Italy, we have the SPID. In Chile, we have Clave Única. With this process, you can access to many services just with your phone. And that will simplify the life of many people around the world, most of them living in extreme sides of the territory. So it's very important to create these services, to bring more solutions and make them simpler. On the other hand, we need to alphabetize people that have little or not knowledge of digitalization for these elderly people, on people in underdeveloped countries. So that will be interesting to see because we have to create education programs in order to make them use these services on completely safety, because otherwise they will start to put in and risk them and us. Because not just because they are accessing strange sites, but also because they can be victims of scam. So this will be very important because it's not a trend, it will be a reality, and we have to embrace that. Smart working and smart education. If you're working at home now, but you never did it and you're just doing the same you did at the office, that's not a smart working. That's just working remote. What is cool about smart working is even the physical space you go at the office and when you work at home is flexible. You work in a smart way. And that means that we will have to change the mechanics about work. We see there are many studies to talk about how remote working and smart working improve the efficiency of people working because they can balance better their private life and the interests of the company. So we have to embrace that, but also change our spaces. If we have to go to the office must be a place of reunion who promotes creativity and is the central point of coordination, because yes, you can make a lot of different tasks at home, but when you have to define a project, when you have to create something, it's always easier made it in person. So, and the same with education. we cannot reply the same dynamics in the classroom that working at home. So we will have to improve that. Now I'm writing a new article about this and trying to find methodologies, efficient methodologies, in order to avoid schemorphism. Collaboration and strategic integration with focus on science. This is very obvious because many countries are not focused on public health, and that's a problem, it's worrisome, because if you do not have a solid health system, under pandemics you will have a lot of problems. And also, if your economic development is extremely centralized, you are not reliable in case you have to close. You have to close because you have to put people on quarantine. So for this reason, it's very important to take a chance on science. Let's start to work and improve, collaborate. Now technology allows that. Yes, it will be necessary to make a lot of investment in order to provide a better broadband connection. But we are seeing, for example, now there are many big companies working together. They are enemies, but they are working together because they want to have a vaccine faster. And that wasn't possible in the past. So that could be a very cool trend, and also is applicable to many different markets and products and services. The globalization of the value chain. Yes, globalization is a very old neologism who talks about a balance between globalization and localization. Yes, many people now they're starting to say, yes, we have to start to eating what we plant in our orchard. Yes, that's possible maybe in rural areas, but not in big cities or complicated conurbations. So we have to balance that. We have to have local production for strategic goods. For example, now we do not have a solid supply of masks, of medic stuff. So maybe the government must subsidize that industry in order to be more reliable in case of a pandemic. The disruption on the hospitality and gentrification market. Yes, many hotel chains are closed now, and that's because of reasons. And that will change a lot the economy, but also the services around the value chain. That means transport, aviation, buses, trains, everything will change. The demand will change. We will see many big companies on that field going bankrupt and another fusion because the market is not, the demand do not exist now. And also I think at this point we saw many different aviation companies going bankrupt because they didn't have enough demand. So that will change a lot, but also services like Airbnb, people will think twice if they want to go to a home they don't know is it safe or is it well protected and health terms. That will change a lot also the occupancy of the cities. And then there is another thing, it could sound a little bit macabrous, but we will see a lot of people dying, and for this reason we will have a lot more offer of houses. So it may be now the opportunity for millennials to buy a house. And I'm not saying that is a happy situation, but it's the reality of the facts. Other thing that is very important is the evaluation of public greens and private greens. What that means, we have many houses without balconies, without terraces, and also many buildings built around nothing. And we will see that this trend of pandemics is starting now, but it will, with time comes, we will see other phenomena like that. And for this reason, people will start to privilege the spaces, the cities who has more green areas, and also not just in your house, but at least around. So also the urbanization of the city will be constructed around green areas in order to give you the sense of freedom that you are losing under a quarantine. That will bring also a decrease on the speed. That means that we will have to prioritize what is more important and what is not. We will have to think in a very smart way how to prioritize the things in our lives and also the countries. What is the most important? For this reason, health it will be, and it's the most important thing. You cannot think that living that without control it will work. So we have to define really well as societies what are the priorities and what is not, because otherwise we have a lot of demand and consumption and movement that sometimes is unnecessary. And finally, centralized and decentralized activities. There are many countries who are really centralized economically, so they have this kind of poles where everything happens and the rest of the country is like nothing. And that is not good, because when you have pandemics and situations like that and crisis, you need a more reliable and more resilient economy. For this reason, it will be very interesting if we see investment to develop different economic nodes around the territory, and this way the economies could deactivate some part of the country when something happens, and then continue to work without have to stop everything. That will be a very smart move. It will help a lot the economy of many countries around the world, even Italy, because in Italy we have this division between north and south, and as we see now, the statistics about people infected and death are higher here because most of the people is here. So it's something we will have to think. Thank you everyone. I hope you like this content. I will publish this in English, in Italian, and also in Spanish, so you can check if you want it. And I hope you like it, and please leave your comments, subscribe and like. If you don't have anything useful to say, don't say it. See you next time.